Hi, welcome to another date night.
That's right.
You were looking at me, so I thought maybe you wanted me to intro that.
Sure, why not?
All right, well, we are here having a date.
And it's almost night.
And it's almost night.
We didn't plan this, but you're wearing black and I'm wearing orange, like Halloween. Pumpkin, black and orange.
I do, see.
So,
I do get it.
I thought maybe...
Well, isn't that fitting?
We could... Well, mainly you, because I wasn't there, but you could talk about or share some of the stories about the house you grew up in or lived in.
Should I turn toward you like you're interviewing me about this? So how will you play a role in this said date night then? If it's all I don't want to do all the talking without.
Well, I'll smoke my cigar.
Why don't you just have me sit on the deck by myself night then?
No, I will. I'll ask you questions.
I'll sit here while you tell stories and blow smoke in your face.
I'll ask you questions.
Okay, I like that idea better. That's a good interview.
Okay. So go ahead and set out. You got to talk about your house at least.
All right, I'll set it up. So we rented a home out in the country. I think we were given some information about the home and its history when we moved in as renters, but I can't say for sure how much information we were given, or it could have possibly been my dad that researched it, because that seems like something he would do. Either way, we acquired information not too long after we had lived there.
And what was said information? So
said information were details like, in past history, the house, so the family that originally lived in the home was buried in a cemetery across the street, which we actually went and looked at, and it wasn't like a real cemetery. It was like a fenced off, almost like a little garden area with bodies and tombstones. So it was very country burial.
I'm guessing they probably didn't go 6 feet down then.
They were definitely buried. I mean, they're not any less than 6 feet. They'd be like floating in a flood. So that's gross. You can't do that. I'm sure they buried them deep.
Well, you said it wasn't like a proper cemetery, so I thought. Well,
no, it wasn't like
dug until they were covered.
No, it wasn't like that. They weren't like mounds, visible mounds or something. It wasn't like a cemetery property on it wasn't like a formal property. Right. It was basically like, we are the Smiths and we're going to bury our family across the street in our own cemetery where all of us will go whenever we die, kind of thing. So that's like creepy in itself. So the family is buried across the street. Then we found out like it was a cattle ranch where like people could stop and like stay for the night, something like that. And then we found out it was an orphanage. So
wait, when was it a cattle ranch?
I don't know. I just remember it was like a horse something. Stop.
Okay. And then it was a what?
And it was also an orphanage where I can't remember the details for sure. One thing that stands out from that story and history is that they used to hang kids out of the top windows by their feet as like a means of punishment. So then like it leads you to think, ooh, did they ever drop one?
My cousin did that to me.
That's terrifying. That is not okay.
It was. I was
off the deck.
I was terrified.
I don't even like when, like, if people are teasing you and they like pretend to put you in a trash can or like give you a swishy in the toilet or something.
A swishy?
Or what do you call it? Swirly?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah. Anything where you're not in control because someone's got you from your feet is like terrifying. Then to be hung from a high area. That seems like that's cruel punishment.
Yeah, that's trauma.
So with all of that said, the house was haunted. Now, I don't know if you believe in that. The theory of ghosts and their presence or whatever. And there's two sides. So
I do have a Ghostbuster proton pack for a reason. Anyway, so you're one question is, I think I remember you saying something like the house, because it had been like so many things, the architecture had changed.
Oh, okay. So details of the house
added on.
This is really cool, actually. Yeah. So this was like some of my favorite things about this house. So one of the things that was super awesome is that, yes, so as people continued to live there and it transitioned into different like living spaces or homes or whatever the case may be, things were built on, but nothing was ever destroyed, which I have like heard and read in stories and books and stuff that like if you don't eliminate like the original property, then like whatever spirits or whatever will remain there. So it's like, and I don't, so what I know now, I imagine that maybe they didn't want to take down anything or weren't able to because of said spirits. So they built basically like pieces of the home around original existing home. So for instance, the main floor, there was like a kitchen and a step down. In the step down, there was the original outhouse door is on there. And I'm assuming it was probably the original outhouse was just kind of like encompassed by a build on.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there would be like this main, like, so you'd have to step up, and it was like crazy, lots of little like step up, step down, blah, 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 like weird all over levels. So you step up to go into that bathroom, which had the outhouse door. But then at like before you walk into it, on the side was a stove, like a
wood burning
stove. So I would imagine that had to be pretty original. I mean, you don't get a wood burning stove in a home very easily, right? No.
My grandma had one, I remember.
And they're
kid.
Awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my gosh, freaking love that thing. So then that was like, so you got the outhouse bathroom, you've got the stove here, and then there was a step up. And that was kind of like just an extra room, but in the floor. So this is what was really cool. If you lifted the carpet in that room, there was a cellar door, and it went down to a cellar. So it was like stone cellar. There was not like...
How close was that to what was assumed to be the outhouse?
Pretty close.
Well, then where was that where they put all their poop? Was it not a cellar?
Well, the outhouse was like, so it would be like the outhouse was up here, and then the cellar would be like over here. Like not in close proximity where whatever was happening in the outhouse was coming down into the
I was like, maybe that's where it went.
That would be a
and it wasn't
bad
a cellar.
deal for who we're keeping our poop in the cellar. I don't know. No, but it was clearly like a place where you would can and things like that. I almost wonder if my mom ever did that. I don't know. I can't remember if she ever
pooped in the cellar.
But anyway, I don't know. It was super cool. And my dad had his office in there for a while. He worked freelance. So like
in
that
the
was
cellar?
No, in the room that had the cellar.
Oh,
door.
Okay. I thought I could see him doing that. I wasn't trying to be funny.
No, if you would have seen the cellar, like no way you would ever want to work down there. And that would be a scary movie where like you'd be working down there and then you'd hear and like the cellar door would close. You couldn't get it up, the rug on top of it, and then you're trapped in there for life, suffocated, dead. Or there's something down there that will kill you. I would not want to work down there. No, it was like primitive, raw cement,
raw uncut stone, and
yeah.
So, yeah. So what makes it like so far? You just said that it has some history.
Okay, but
it has some
there's
add-on.
There's other
changes,
good details.
Yeah, like what?
Like in the living room, when you open the closet, you open the closet door, and then you saw a window pane with a wall behind it. So like they built that add-on. But they never like took down the original wall with the window. They left everything and like built a wall and a.
So like the house and the window were there, and then when they added on, they just built another wall in front of that window.
Yes.
But left it.
Yes.
That's messed up. That's weird.
Cool though, huh?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's like, why would there be a window? Like,
I know. Well, and I remember when my mom had actually gone to look at the house, and she was telling us about it. And she's like, there's a library at the top of the stairs. And I didn't understand what she said. I thought, like, I'd watched Silver Spoons, right? So there's secret doors and like Webster. So I was thinking like it was like going to be a secret door, because she was like, it's a real old house. And I imagine that you'd go up the stairs and then there'd be like a secret door, and then you go in and there's like a library, you know.
Yeah, like,
It basically meant there were like built-in shelves at the top of the stairs. It was a little lackluster, but needless to say, that's probably how they sold it in the advertisement, and she just relayed that information.
Your own personal library.
Yeah, I thought it was really going to be something, but it was just built-ins.
That's funny.
There was a clawfoot tub in my mom and dad's.
Cool.
So that was cool, like their room. There was like steps up to their room. Their room was like on a, like upper, there was a clawfoot tub in their bedroom. Like not a bathroom, like it was literally like their closet was here, and the clawfoot tub was right outside of the closet. And then there was a deck off of their bedroom.
I guess that speaks to like, depending on how far back that clawfoot tub goes, that would probably make sense that it would be in like
it just went right to the wall.
I see. I mean, in history, in time.
I was pulling a big
not
joke
in length.
on that one. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, but like that would, I mean, you would probably have that as a centralized kind of place for bathing and whatnot, and be
Yeah.
more centered in the house where it's warmer versus like next to walls or windows.
Yes, that makes sense.
But anyway,
And there was also a bathroom built. So it's like they had an ensuite, but literally in their bedroom was a clawfoot tub. So then they would walk down 2 steps, and then there was like a whole bathroom with 2 sinks, a toilet, bathtub.
so if your mom and dad ever got into a fight, did your dad sleep in the clawfoot tub?
No, because that was in the bedroom. My mom would probably make him go sleep in the other bathtub. It's too close. Too close for comfort.
Sleep in the other tub, or
Yeah.
go sleep in the
Get in the crappy tub,
or the
not the clawfoot one.
the storage underneath
Yeah,
the kitchen.
go in the cellar. Sleep in your office, but underground, where my poop goes. Pause. Yes, quick.
Oh, do you know where the piping bags are?
You're gonna have to think of a different way. I don't have piping bags. You can do 2 spoons. Put a scoop of noodle. Okay, we're not really gonna listen.
No, I need to do it.
Sure.
Anyway, so
You just said you
Okay.
understood.
clawfoot tub. So clawfoot tub.
Quasi date night. We
Yeah.
get interrupted like every other aspect of life this week. So clawfoot tub. So all right, let's get to like some detail. Let's get to the hauntedness. Unless you have more questions about that.
No, I was just saying. So far, it's just I know the house has history as to what it was. It's been modified continuously, and it has some interesting aspects to it. But there's yet to be anything that's like haunted.
Let's get
quote
to
unquote.
it.
Okay.
Shall we? These are not in any kind of chronological order. These are going to be told as they pop into my head because that's how this
We might be in for a
works
wild ride,
anyways.
folks.
this is going to be very impromptu. Whatever happens here, that's what's coming out. No order.
We might hear stories of all kinds of things.
You might hear about my day today or when I was 18 at a
Or
party.
Or your dream last night, or whatever.
You never know, or it might get there. So one of the first experiences that I remember, my dad and I were sitting in the living room of this house, and
It's just you and him home, or everybody was home?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
That's too much memory. I just remember, so this was a repeated thing that like at the time we may have experienced something similar and then not realize, but like this kind of set the precedence for often hearing very random loud noises. So we were sitting in the living room and then we heard this like crash, and it sounded almost like someone would like throw a vase, like it was intense crash, right? So like
it
a
sounded
glass crash.
Like something broke.
Yes, but it
Okay.
was like, it sounded like someone threw something, like, you know, like there's a difference between like if you hear grass and it's like,
Right. Yeah.
and then when it's like,
violently. Yeah.
you know, like
So did
someone threw it, right?
did it make you and your dad like jump or like?
Well, it was kind of one of those moments where we're like, what was that? Like you're watching something on television or whatever, and then you hear this like massive thing, and then you're like, did you hear? You know, it's kind of like that. Did you hear that? Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, we got to explore it. Maybe we were at home alone since we were
Yeah, I was gonna
like,
say, was that somebody
caught off guard. It
else?
wasn't like we were like, yo, Kurt, like we would if someone was home.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we were. So we went looking around. Here's where it gets creepy. Are you ready? Cue scary music. We look everywhere. And we looked in the bathroom once, I think, before, and didn't see anything.
What is this? The bathroom that's in
It's the outhouse bathroom on the main floor.
Okay.
So that might be key to the story, right? A little tricky.
So that was the one that they built around and attached to it.
Yes.
And, okay.
We noticed that in the corner of the bathroom was a light fixture that had fallen from the ceiling, but instead of shattering straight down like it should have, right?
So like the fixture was in the middle of the ceiling.
Yes, so just like a regular
Okay.
light fixture that would be like a ceiling light fixture in the center of the bathroom that was installed. It was in the corner of the bathroom, not shattered, but like pieces of it set around it. Just,
What?
yes,
Wait. It was broken,
yes.
but it wasn't shattered into a bunch of pieces.
No.
It was broken in small pieces.
Yes, and there's no way that it could have fallen and ended in that corner like that. Like
And-
it was strategically scooched to the side.
There were no other pieces anywhere else.
No. And it wasn't shattered. So to have fallen from a ceiling in a bathroom.
Well, and to make a loud noise, you would think it would have to be shattered.
Right? This is where I'm telling you.
So
Okay,
so what did you and your dad do when you saw that?
we were just kind of like, you know, it's one of those where you're like, okay, I don't know I'm not sure where to shove that. Okay. Then we kind of had like a good story, right? Because there's like no way. So it kind of like, that was it. I also remember there would be my dad would be like at the wood stove doing stuff. Gosh, now that I'm thinking about it, like a lot of this took place in the same space. Now I wonder if something, okay. Because my dad would be at the wood stove. And
the wood stove was in that same kitchen area.
So the kitchen's up here, step down, wood stove, step up, outhouse bathroom. But on that floor, we also had like a couch and like a sitting area. So if my dad was making a fire in the stove, I think there might have been a TV down there too. Can't remember.
And this is all like the kitchen?
It's off the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Kitchen's here. I've explained this lots of times.
I'm sorry.
Kitchen, step down, wood stove, and then kind of like a living space. Then you could step up to that office with the cellar door. You could step up to the outhouse. Are you following with me? I feel like I'm giving a pretty good explanation.
You are. I have a visual person. I need to see it.
Let me see your
pictures. I'm with you.
Do I need paper and a pen?
Yeah, but
I will draw you a map.
No, I'm tracking.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep going.
So my dad would be at the wood stove, and then and if you've ever used a wood stove, it's like basically standing near a bonfire or fireplace. Those things throw off heat. Like
Tremendous
people would
amount of
heat their entire homes off of them.
Cook off of them, heat their house, all that. Yeah.
Yes. Which also makes me remember that my mom used to make pots of soup and set it on there to stay warm or cook. Anyway, pleasant memories. But while he was working at the wood stove, it would be like freezing cold periodically. Like to the point where he was like, it felt like you walked outside in snow.
Standing next to the stove?
Yes.
Really?
And it would just be like for a moment, right? Like a fleeting, like,
which gives me goosebumps.
Again, if you ever read anything about ghosts, like they say that's like, a spirit going through you or whatever. So I think that's
Exorcist,
crazy.
the whole room is like cold.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. So just little things that would happen. I would be in my room, and I had two different.
I think the ice cream man is coming through our neighborhood.
That's what's that clown from It?
Oh, yeah, Pennywise?
Hey kids, want a balloon? Or what does he say?
We'll float down here. I'm Pennywise, the tasty clown.
Yeah, see, it's just all about some spoopies.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so little things. I had two different rooms on that second floor. So my mom and dad always had the one with the clawfoot tub. But then there was a bedroom when you first walked up the stairs. So I could see out my bedroom window their deck.
Your mom and dad's deck?
Yeah. Which eventually they moved me to another room. And now I think it's because I would like peek out there like, what are you doing at night, right? I was very nosy. Didn't ever want to go to bed. Doesn't remind me of anyone. Then there was another bedroom off the other side. So I had been in both. Definitely the other bedroom, which again is like, was on top of where that wood stove was.
Right above it.
Guys, I am having an awakening thought process because
That's interesting.
That bedroom in particular, I would wake up or go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you would hear this. And I would think there was like a TV on. I would even go like look around. Nothing. You could hear constant.
Sorry.
Oli smoke-a-noli.
Sorry.
Joseph.
I'm sorry.
It was almost like it was intentional. Like you were trying to be really cool and you're like.
No, I wasn't. I was just not even thinking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We might have to go to Pipes when we're doing date nights because
you're
smoking me out too much.
Or a friend of mine on YouTube suggested that. I'll have to take his advice.
I love that you listen to your friends about starting pipe smoking, but not actually doing that when your wife's sitting next to you and doesn't want to have like.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll stay over here.
You're fine. Just like be mindful of where
I apologize.
It was a big puff in my face.
I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Zen moment. So you would hear constant murmuring. That was very odd. Now we did have mice in the attic above, and like you would hear scratching.
Do they talk? The mice? No, I'm sorry. You did say though that like you would ask your mom about the like murmuring,
Mm-hmm.
and then she would say that, oh, it's just the TV or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were always trying to protect us. So they, as a 12-year-old girl, you don't want to be like, it's spirits in the attic. You'd crap your pants. I mean, they were very mindful to like not divulge information until we were getting older or
Right.
whatever. And then we really shared some stories, spilled the juice or whatever, spilled the tea. But I also wonder, and I'm going to have to ask them at some point, because they would say like, oh, there's mice, because you would hear scratching from the attic all the time. And to me, it sounded like, that doesn't sound like a mice. I don't know what mice do. Or they'd be like, mice were probably in the walls or something. But now I wonder if it was like, like scratching. Mice are like, I mean, how big are mice hands? They can't be like, I mean, how, or they don't have hands. What do they call those? Mouse claws?
Paws.
Paws?
I,
What are those called?
I don't know.
Right?
Mice feet. Paws.
Mouse foot.
Digits.
Whatever the mice have, they can't be that loud. I mean, this sounded like legit,
Right.
like somebody's trying to get out of here.
Huh.
Creepy. There would be lots of crashing, or like there was times we would leave our house and it would sound like someone threw a dresser down the stairs. Like we'd be walking out to get in the car and you'd hear this enormous bang, and my dad would go back in and he's like, I don't know, maybe it was just, and he like, now in retrospect, I'm like, okay, it was haunted. He knew he wasn't probably going to find anything. And then would come out and be like, I don't know. And like, we'd be like, but what? And he'd be like, maybe just the house settling, or like, I mean, I'm sure they came up with like something.
It's just loud boom. It's just the house settling.
I don't remember what they said, but for whatever reason, I was like, got to a point where I'm like, okay, or like,
Wow.
so there was always just very weird noises. Now, I'm going to tell you the real grand finale. And I'm sure there's other stories, but they're not coming to mind at this time. Like there was something else.
Sorry.
I can't remember.
I'm keeping it away. Sorry, go ahead. Grand finale.
Well, no, this isn't the grand finale. There was something else where something broke. I don't know if it was a glass in the sink. I can't remember, but then
Oh, I do remember you telling me
there
about
were
that.
pieces on either side of the sink, and then the like middle part that separates two-sided sinks.
Yeah.
And things sitting on that, like pieces of the same broken thing there. So again, another
But
like
But
strategically.
there was no glass in the sinks?
No.
So
I don't know if it was a glass. I can't remember if it was like a coffee mug or
So how did it break?
I don't know.
So who found it?
I did.
So you went in and you found a broken mug or some type of glass or something, shards of this broken item all along the sink out edges and in the middle, but not in either of the wells, like down
Right.
in either of the. And you asked your family,
Yeah.
and they're like, "No, we didn't."
I probably was like, Dad, look at this. And he was like, I was doing a science project. I don't know. He probably came up with something. But then it's like, you can't pull one past me because we saw that light fixture fall together. And I
Right,
was,
yeah.
now I was like,
Well, at least it's a tidy spirit or ghost. Doesn't want to make a mess.
I mean, if you were a ghost and you were trying to, like, let's go Beetlejuice on it, right? So they were always trying to do something that wasn't life-threatening, but also, like, you need to know it's me and not,
very peculiar
accident.
and like yeah.
like, you got to, like, make
Yeah.
it known that this isn't possible unless somebody did it, and it's
Right.
boo.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. I think it was like, we want you to know we're here and, like, get out.
Get out, yeah.
So I wasn't there for this, but like this is the grand finale story because my parents, when we were moving, I was at, I think our soon to be home, or like maybe with
Somewhere
friends
else.
or like relatives or something, because they were physically moving everything out, like the last final clear everything, put it in the U-Haul, get it out, whatever. So they didn't want kids in the way, so we weren't there. When I was much older, I heard this part. So they had a friend come over. They were moving stuff down, whatever. The last place they went to get stuff. So it'd be like when you're the last place, like your garage, because it's a
There's
never-ending
always
story.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the stuff is like multiplying, and you have no idea why, and you're
Yeah.
never going to be done moving that out of there.
Right. Yep.
So they went to the attic to get the things that were stored up there. Oh, nope. I forgot. This is pivotal.
Wow.
No, this is like,
All right,
okay, let's back it up.
I'm intrigued. Let's do this. Go.
When we lived in the house, there was a point where the subfloor was sinking in the living room. And they had to bring in people to fix it. So we went, and I think we stayed with my mom and dad's friends. Either way, we were not in the home at the time because we couldn't like be there while they were doing the construction or whatever. When they would rip up floorboards, the tools would fly off of the mantle of the fireplace in the living room. So every time they were trying to like, and so it would take a long time. And I think they had to get like multiple people to come in and work on the flooring. So like if you lifted the carpet, the subfloor was like sinking because they probably never like got rid of the original floor. It's probably rotting.
So how did you guys, you weren't there, so how did you guys know that this was happening?
I don't know if they were like, I don't know. I'm going to have to phone home about that.
Yeah, the workers would have to have told your parents or somebody that, hey, look, this stuff is happening.
And like, I'm not working there, right? So it like went on. And I think they had to get like different people to come in. And I don't know if like the owner like originally.
Go back.
Well, would you? I wouldn't be like, yay, time to go to work. Can't wait to go back to that place where a hammer's going to hit me in the head by a spirit. All right. So grand finale. We'll go back to that. So at some point, it became knowledge that if you're ripping up part of the original home, like they're not happy about it. They being said ghosts. So moving day, attic, last place. My mom and dad's friend went up and he was getting stuff from the attic. They were making multiple trips and stuff was starting to move around up there. And it was getting pretty ugly from what I understand. Again, I wasn't there. But from what I understand, there was stuff like seriously moving around up there on its own. They witnessed it. To the point where the friend was like, I'm done, and left.
You wouldn't go back up there?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Goosebumps again.
So it's pretty cool.
That's
and
like freaky.
Yeah. And I remember
so how did they get the stuff out? Did your dad go up there?
Probably.
Or did you just leave it there?
I don't know. I couldn't, I mean, I would imagine unless it was like super, like valuable, they would probably, like if it were me, I'd be like, I don't need that much. Whatever.
Those baby pictures, we just leave them there. That was moving day and you guys moved out and then when you were moving out, some crazy nonsense was happening. Your friend of the family who was helping you move refused to go back into the house.
Which I feel like that'd have to be legit because I would imagine like if one of our friends was like moving and then they like heard a weird noise, it wouldn't be like, I'm out. You know, it had to be pretty substantial.
Yeah.
I would hear like the TV, or not hear it, but like the TV would come on. So I'd be in my room in the middle of the night and I would like, all of a sudden the TV would be on. And then I'd be like, what the? And then, you know, if I ever told my parents, they'd be like, you probably left it on and fell asleep. I'd be like,
yeah, no. Especially
when they wouldn't let me. Like, you know, if it was like a school night.
This was the days of like, was it a remote TV? So this is the days where
you like late 80s, early 90s. This is the days where you go up and you move the antenna with the aluminum foil on it and try to like halfway turn it to channel 11 from 9 and hope that you get like a good clear channel 11.
Yeah. So to turn it on, it had to be like the serious thing.
On or off, yeah.
Wow.
And to have one in our room, it definitely wasn't going to have a remote. That was like luxury.
Oh,
Only
the
my mom and
TV
dad
was
had
in
it.
your room?
Yes. Only my mom and dad had a
that's
TV
even
remote.
creepier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like an old black and white TV, and I would go to sleep, and then I'd wake up to hear psh,
at like 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah, and then because you know back in the day,
it went off the air,
right?
Yeah, so it was just static.
Yeah, and I'd wake up and I'd be like,
so it had to be physically like turned on. It wasn't even just like a remote or anything like that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yes. Oh, you'd like think you'd hear like people. Like, periodically, I would think, and it's also an old house. So in the library, aka built-in bookshelves, there was wood flooring there. All the bedrooms had carpet. But you know, when you live in a house long enough, so in our home now, I can tell when someone's coming from the basement to the upstairs. I can tell when someone's upstairs.
You become familiar with the noises.
You just know those noises. You know exactly where someone is at the moment they're in that space.
Yep.
And there would be times where I would be in my bedroom, which is right out from that
library.
Space, and you'd be like, who's walking around? And you'd go look and nobody. I'd be at home by myself sometimes,
Mm.
and there was nobody there, and I'd be like, and I'd go look around and nothing. I don't know, folks.
So, wow, good stories. Well, thank you for sharing.
All right.
All right. Well, I hope
That you're scared.
yes, and I hope that you were enjoyed this video. If you guys have any kind of similar stories, love to hear them in the comments, or make your own video and share it, because this stuff is really fun. And
If you lived in the house that I did in the 80s to 90s, please don't share that. I don't want to know.
well, no, especially in this month, October.
Yeah,
So,
it's fun to hear spooky stories, or
Absolutely.
if you've had experiences of any kind.
so please share anything that you might want to share. And in the meantime, we thank you for stopping by and watching. We ask that you like and subscribe.
Please do that
Yes. And we will see you on the next
video.
date night.
That.